Hello, welcome back to another episode. This is Ryan at Milligan Auto Services. Today we've attended our first job and we're going to run through the tests that we're going to do for it. We've got a Transit, it's an 04 Transit. It's experiencing some disco lights, so we're probably going to be replacing or repairing the lamps at the back. After that we've got to go to a Citroen DS3 that we've seen on the last episode, which I'll put up there. That was for, I think it was the tailgate not opening, but I got a phone call from the parts supplier on Saturday there saying that the part's actually not available and it's on back order, so that's a bit of a nightmare. So what we're going to do is we're just going to repair as much as we can in that tailgate harness. So let's crack on. So you can see here, she's an old beauty. So we've got nothing on that headlamp at all, and we've got no reverse lights. So you can see headlamp on that side works. Low beam and high beam do not work on that side, plus your side light. So we're going to investigate that. Got a wee bit of fish tank in there, nice. You can kind of already see part of our issue, not for the headlamp but for the side light not working. You can see it's had a bit of nasty wiring repairs done. So good thing about this is we can repair that sitting in the back of the van. It's starting to shiver now. So I'm not going to hang out a full video repairing a headlamp, but you can see that the actual side light wire has been extended, and that was put into, I'm going to take it, the earth for the headlamp, low beam and high beam. We'll get it repaired, get it back on the van. So you can see there the headlamp's on, so we've just got a simple earth issue somewhere along there, so we'll probably just run our earth into it. You see both of them are working. It's just a typical old Transit thing, I suppose. So we'll get that rectified. So one other thing that the customer asked us to check while we were here was the reverse lights not working. Now, so what we've done is just done the most simple test. So we'll show you here. So if we go under the van, all I've done is disconnected the reverse switch, which lives up there, and I've ran a loop. So you can see there, I've ran a loop there. And if we go to the back of the van, and the reason I've went straight ahead and done this is because getting access into these lamps isn't the best because it's a camper. But you can see the reverse lights are working fine. So the reverse switch is a culprit and we need the reverse switch. So nice and simple, basic testing. Bypass the switch, reverse lights work, so the switch is faulty. So we'll move on to our next one. I believe it's a Citroen DS3 that we're going back to repair that wiring. So we're back at this DS3, and to be honest I'm quite glad we didn't buy the loom because the rest of the wiring in here is actually okay. So what we're going to do is just repair the main earth, do a repair on that, and the good thing about that is once that's sitting up there it will not be tight, so it won't break away the cable as such. And I'm going to loosen this trim in here, and the cables are quite tightly against the body just behind where this trim is, so I'm going to loosen that up a bit as well because I think once that's up there it's quite tight, so it's stretching out, and that's why the wire's breaking. Because the rest of the cables in the actual bend are fine, it's just this one cable that's took most of the damage. So I'm just going to run this in a time lapse, get it done with quick, because you've already seen the diagnostic video on this. As you can see there, it's repaired all I need to do is just clip it back in. So if I just give it a wee push with my podge up, you can see, and it's not as tight in there. It's loosened up a bit, so it's no stretching the wire as much, but we'll just make sure this is all worked. So it's just a moment of truth to see if this is fixed the issue. Just need to turn that off. Yep, so let's find out. So we'll stick on a rear wiper. Just we'll put on a rear wiper. Yeah, you can see that's working. And we're just waiting on the heated windscreen to heat up. We'll see how that is. So the heated windscreen absolutely roasting, so that's perfect. We're going to move on to our next one. We're just charging up the phone and we'll do the crafter next. After the crafter we're going to the Fiat. Hopefully the Fiat's got a wee bit more interesting content. The Smallins job's been a bit boring to say the least, but we'll crack on with it. So we're at our next job, and oh boy, I'm not feeling it today. I'm not feeling up to it. Got a bit of a sore headache, a bit of a cold coming on I think, but the job must go on. So we're at a Fiat Fiat Punto? Is this a Punto? Yep, a Fiat Grande Punto with an SRS light on, the headlights staying on, and the near side rear tail lamp hyper flashing. So we're looking at the SRS fault first. This would be a bit more of an interesting one. So you can see there we've got BO117 front impact sensor, driver's side. The reason I've got this running, by the way, is because the battery's completely flat, so I need to keep it running, or else the guy's going to be coming out to the car being dead, because these headlights are staying on all the time. So I've got the front impact sensor disconnected here. So what we should have is, I'll leave that back up there, we've got our red and our green, which should be 12 volts or battery voltage. You can see we've got 0.56 of a volt there. So what happens is this wiring loom runs across all the way over there underneath the expansion bottle, and then it goes into that connector there where the pink and black wire is, just sitting at the top, and then it runs underneath that fuse box, and up here is where I thought the problem would be, because somebody's unravelled all this, but that's actually not. It's just been untaped and not been put back together. So what I'm going to show you is if I pierce into the wire, and you can see we've got charging voltage or battery voltage as the vehicle's running at that sensor. So how much of a volt drop have we got? That's the question. What we'll do is we'll go into the opposite side. We'll go into the side that the connector, which the impact sensor plugs into. And we'll just see the difference. So we've only got 0.80 of a volt. So somewhere from here to here we've got an open circuit. We've got a resistive path, sorry. So what we're going to do is go down to that plug. And I was going to test the voltage there, but I noticed when I gave the plug a little wiggle, if you just monitor that multimeter, you can see it's jumping up and down. You can see there. We're nearly getting up to a volt. So we can now see the gubbins of this thing. Let's see what we're dealing with. So we've got a broken brown and green, unless it changes colour. It must change colour on that other side. Yep, it does, it changes. So you can see there, bit of a faff getting all that out. That's a bit of a pain in the arse. So you can see we've got the two cables there. We've got a corroded wire, which is literally there. That's the corrosion, that's where the resistive path was coming from. So you can just see that's what we've got there. That's just some old tape from a Vauxhall wiring loom. It's taped up, it's bypassed on the plug, so it won't run through the plug anymore. So we're going to get all this sort of built back up, and we'll come back to you once we're on the fault codes. So we've fitted everything back together, and this is the fault code that was coming up, B0117. You can see we've got the airbag warnings and that on. So we're going to clear the fault code and see if it does clear, that is. So by the looks of it, it's cleared, and we'll just leave the car running, but we're going to double check the near side rear tail lamp first, because it says that this is low priority. That's more of a priority, that and the airbag light was the main thing, but not to spend too much time on the headlights. So we'll do the tail lamp first. So you can see we've got it to fault the way the guy's explaining. So it's just the connections on the plug. So if I give that a wiggle, you can see it works normal, it's working fine. And you can see if I wiggle that plug, you can see it goes back to flashing the tail lights instead of the indicator. So we're going to have a look at that earth and possibly repair that. So a nice easy one. So you can see the earth pin in there is all rusted, more or less. It's got a bit of water in there. The actual lamp has been replaced before, but inside the lamp's spotless. It's just that pin. I've had these for quite a while. Laser, basically they're just wee pin cleaning files. So what you can do is you can get into the pin and just give them a right good clean. It's obviously got the other end as well, if you need to use that for anything else, but that's a good wee tool. And what we'll do is we'll put some dielectric grease on there as well. One thing you always need to watch out for as well is pin fitment. So you can see the second pin in, that's your earth cable, and you can see how wide that is compared to the rest of the pins. So that's obviously been part of the fault as well. So we're going to bend that back over with a nice thin screwdriver, and that will solve that issue. So that's us done here. Thanks for watching. Hopefully a couple of more interesting videos coming up. These are just day-to-day things, nothing really fancy, but hopefully there's something coming up, be a bit more of a challenge, a bit more of interest. Thanks for watching. See you next time.